Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that your bank account holds $1 billion. Not 1 million. Not 10 million. 1 billion. Yesterday, you were checking your bank balance before buying groceries. Today, you could buy a private island without thinking twice. Every debt disappears. Every bill is paid. Every financial worry you've ever had simply vanishes. You finally feel free. Or at least, that's what you expect. Because almost everyone believes that money has a finish line. A number where every problem disappears forever. But what if that finish line doesn't actually exist? What if the richest people in the world are still running the same race? Just on a much bigger track? So you begin living the life you've always imagined. You buy the mansion. The supercar. The private jet. The luxury yacht. The designer watches. Everything you've ever wanted suddenly belongs to you. Friends admire your success. Strangers envy your lifestyle. Social media celebrates your wealth. From the outside, your life looks perfect. People assume you've finally found happiness. Because if $1 billion can't make someone feel complete, then what possibly could? Months begin to pass. The excitement slowly fades. The mansion no longer feels extraordinary. It's simply your home. The private jet becomes another way to travel. The sports car becomes your daily commute. The expensive watch becomes just another accessory. The impossible quietly becomes ordinary. Without realizing it, your brain starts treating luxury as normal. The things you once dreamed about become things you barely notice. This isn't fiction. It's a pattern psychologists have studied for decades. The human brain is remarkably good at adapting. No matter how incredible your new life becomes, your mind slowly resets. Yesterday's dream becomes today's expectation. And tomorrow, you'll begin searching for something even bigger. Not because you're greedy, but because that's how the human brain evolved. Now think about the world's richest entrepreneurs. Many have enough wealth to support generations of their families. Yet they continue building companies, launching new products, making investments, taking risks, working long hours. From the outside, it raises an obvious question. Why keep chasing more when you've already won the game? The answer isn't as simple as money. For thousands of years, human survival depended on gathering more resources. More food. More shelter. More security. Our ancestors never knew when the next drought or famine would arrive. Those who stopped preparing often didn't survive. So the human brain developed a simple rule. Never stop improving your chances. That instinct still exists today. Only now, the resources have changed. Instead of collecting food, we collect wealth. Money became our modern measure of safety. Then it became a measure of success. Then status. Then identity. Slowly, without realizing it, many people stop asking, "Do I have enough?" and start asking, "Do I have more than everyone else?" That single question changes everything. Because comparison has no finish line. There will always be someone richer, someone bigger, someone more successful. This is where the billionaire paradox truly begins. The richer someone becomes, the easier it is for their expectations to grow alongside their wealth. It's like running on a treadmill. You keep moving faster, but the finish line never gets closer. Or climbing a mountain, only to discover the peak keeps rising higher every time you approach it. Understanding this simple idea may completely change the way you think about money. Because the biggest financial trap isn't being poor. It's believing that just a little more will finally be enough. Psychologists have a name for this invisible trap. It's called hedonic adaptation. The idea is surprisingly simple. No matter how much your life improves, your brain slowly adjusts to it. Think back to the last time you bought something you desperately wanted. Maybe it was a new phone, a new car, or even your dream home. At first, it felt incredible. You couldn't stop looking at it. You couldn't stop talking about it. But weeks later, it simply became part of your everyday life. The excitement disappeared. Not because the object changed, but because you did. Your brain was never designed to stay excited forever. If it did, humans would stop growing, stop exploring, stop improving. Instead, your mind constantly searches for the next reward, the next achievement, the next milestone. This ability helped our ancestors survive. But in today's world, it creates an endless cycle. One success quickly becomes yesterday's news, and your attention shifts toward the next goal. Now imagine this happening over decades. Every promotion, every investment, every business success brings another lifestyle upgrade. The house becomes bigger. The car becomes faster. The watch becomes more expensive. The vacations become more exclusive. Eventually, luxury stops feeling like luxury. It simply becomes life. This is one reason why appearances can be misleading. Someone driving a luxury car may be living paycheck to paycheck, while another person driving an older vehicle may quietly own millions in investments. Real wealth is often invisible. It's not the things people see. It's the financial freedom they don't. History is filled with people who looked incredibly rich, but weren't truly wealthy. Professional athletes, celebrities, business owners, lottery winners. Many earned fortunes, yet later lost almost everything. Not because they lacked income, but because their lifestyle grew even faster than their wealth. Income can make you look rich. Only disciplined investing can make you stay rich. And this brings us to one of the biggest misunderstandings about billionaires. Most people believe they're chasing bigger houses, more cars, or another private jet. But for many of the world's most successful entrepreneurs, money stopped being the goal long ago. So if it isn't money they're chasing, then what is? The answer might surprise you. Because the most valuable thing in the world can't be deposited into a bank account. If money is no longer the goal, then what keeps billionaires working? The answer isn't another sports car. It isn't another mansion. And it certainly isn't another private jet. For many of the world's most successful entrepreneurs, money eventually becomes something else. A tool. A scorecard. A way to build ideas that once seemed impossible. Think about the companies that have changed the world. Most of them were built by people who could have retired long before they finished. Not because they needed another paycheck, but because they wanted to create something that would outlive them. Take Warren Buffett. He could have retired decades ago. Instead, he continued reading for hours every single day, studying businesses, analyzing annual reports, making long-term investments. Not because he needed another paycheck, but because he genuinely loved the process. Success had become a habit, and curiosity had become his greatest investment. Then there's Jeff Bezos. Long after Amazon became one of the world's largest companies, he didn't disappear. He expanded into space exploration, media, artificial intelligence, and new technologies. For entrepreneurs like Bezos, Building something meaningful often becomes more exciting than spending money. The challenge itself becomes addictive. Elon Musk followed a similar path. After achieving extraordinary financial success, he didn't slow down. Instead, he pursued electric vehicles, reusable rockets, artificial intelligence, brain-computer technology. Each project was larger than the last. Not because another $1 billion would change his lifestyle, but because solving impossible problems became the mission. This reveals an important truth. Money motivates people differently at different stages of life. At first, money buys security, then comfort, then freedom. But eventually, many highly successful people begin chasing something much deeper. Purpose, impact, innovation, legacy. These things cannot be purchased. They have to be built. Think about the greatest builders in history. Their names survived for centuries. Not because of the money they earned, but because of what they created. Money helped make those things possible. But it wasn't the reason we remember them. Legacy lasts much longer than wealth. Yet even legacy has its limits. Because there is one resource that no billionaire can buy more of. Time. Every person on earth wakes up with the same 24 hours. Whether you have $100 or 100 billion, time remains the great equalizer. And eventually, even the richest person must decide how to spend what cannot be replaced. This is where everything begins to change. Because once money is no longer the biggest problem, a much bigger question appears. What actually creates a meaningful life? Is it possessions? Status? Power? Or something far more valuable? To answer that, we need to understand why so many ordinary people spend their lives chasing a finish line that never really existed. For most of human history, people believed that happiness was waiting just one step ahead. One more promotion. One bigger house. One better investment. One higher salary. And then, everything would finally feel complete. But study after study has shown something remarkable. People quickly adapt to almost every improvement in life. Not because happiness is impossible, but because our minds are always looking toward the next goal. The future constantly steals our attention from the present. There's another invisible force that makes this even worse. Comparison. Imagine earning $100,000 a year. Years ago, that number seemed unbelievable. But then, a coworker earns $200,000. A friend buys a larger home. Someone online posts photos from a luxury vacation. Suddenly, your own success feels smaller. Nothing in your life actually changed. Only the person you chose to compare yourself with. Comparison quietly turns gratitude into dissatisfaction. This is why true wealth isn't measured by what you own. It's measured by the freedom you have. Freedom to spend time with your family. Freedom to choose work you enjoy. Freedom to say no to things that don't matter. A person with fewer possessions but complete control over their time may actually be wealthier than someone worth millions who never stops working. Money can buy comfort. But freedom is what gives money its real value. The people who appear rich aren't always wealthy. Luxury cars, designer clothes, massive homes. They can all be purchased with borrowed money. Real wealth is much quieter. It's the investments nobody sees. The savings account nobody talks about. The financial discipline hidden behind an ordinary lifestyle. Many truly wealthy people don't look rich at all. Because they're focused on building assets, not showing them off. Perhaps the biggest lesson billionaires unknowingly teach us isn't how to make more money. It's how dangerous it can be to believe that money alone will solve every problem. Because every new level of success creates new expectations. Every achievement creates another mountain to climb. If happiness always depends on reaching the next milestone, you'll spend your entire life chasing a finish line that keeps moving farther away. So what should we chase instead? Not endless wealth. Not endless status. Not endless comparison. Instead, build knowledge. Build relationships. Build good health. Build meaningful work. Build financial freedom. Money should become the tool, not the destination. Because tools are meant to improve life, not replace it. One day, you might achieve everything you've ever dreamed about. The house. The investments. The business. The success. When that day comes, remember this story. Don't ask yourself, how much more do I need? Ask yourself, what is enough for me? That single question has changed the lives of countless successful people. And it might change yours too. The greatest financial lesson isn't hidden inside a billionaire's bank account. It's hidden inside their journey. Money can change your lifestyle. But only your mindset can change your life. The richest people in the world continue chasing new goals because purpose, curiosity, and creation often outlast the desire for more money. Real wealth isn't about having everything. It's about knowing when you already have enough. If this documentary changed the way you think about money, then you've already made your first investment. An investment in your perspective. And that might be the most valuable asset you'll ever own. This is Asset Breakdown. Thank you for watching.